Trustees of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District is now convened in the Committee of the Whole meeting on Thursday, October 8, 2015, in the boardroom of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center, 10,300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas, at 6 p.m. for the purpose of reviewing that portion of the October 12, 2015 school board agenda designated as action items and to hear designated reports and recognitions posted in the meeting notice as required by Texas law. No action will be taken at this meeting. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports, approve budgets, contracts, personal appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by Section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on CFTV Channel 16 and CFTV Online on the district website. They will also be rebroadcast throughout the month on Channel 16 and available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. Before we begin, I want to recognize our AVP crew. They're from Langham Creek High School, Lobos. And we have Alicia Benavides, Carolina Mims, and Stacy Sanchez, and their AVP advisor is Brandy Milson. So we appreciate their help tonight with the meeting. The board will now review and discuss the following action items. For 4A, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and are authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. No presentation, we just have questions. Cosmetology equipment and supplies, departmental vehicles, grease trap and line cleaning, HVAC air filters, HVAC electric motors, print cartridges, OEM, remanufactured, or compatible. Any questions?
It's for Mr. Morgan. Mr. Morgan, are you out there?
Morgan's not here, so what item are you going to address?
I just wanted to,
He's here.
there he is. Mr. Morgan is in the house.
Heard you were asking about me, so I came to work.
He was not here at agenda review this morning.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
oh, that was this morning, wasn't it, Matt?
It was.
Yeah, okay. No, just like I did on the buses, the Department of Vehicles that you're doing, what is our lifespan on that, and how often do we replace them?
Well, the lifespan kind
sorry.
of depends on the miles, but usually they get at least about 100,000 miles on the vehicles.
Okay,
And these are for maintenance and operations.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on how much they drive. We haven't replaced a lot of vehicles until recently, so we're kind of catching up.
okay, all right. That's all I needed. Thank you, Matt.
Glad you made it in, Matt.
Be careful on the way out. Agenda item 4B, the board will consider approving and submitting to the Commissioner of Education a request for maximum class size waiver. Any questions? 4C, the board will consider approving construction proposals. What? You got to be quick, Tom. You got to be quick. I'm like my third grade
Deborah,
teacher.
would you very briefly mention that the information's already here, but I'd like it to be answered publicly. Compare the waivers we're asking for this year with the number of waivers that we asked last year, and did you review this with the principals and what their view is of the waivers that you're requesting?
Absolutely. We had a significant decrease in the number of waivers that we're asking for this year compared to last year. Last year, actually, we asked for 177 waivers, and this year we're asking for 45 waivers. And the Principals, each and every one of these waivers we've discussed with principals, and they feel that having 1 or 2 students over the 22 is the best educational environment for these students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Agenda item 4C, the board will consider approving construction proposals and contracts paid from bond funds to the recommended contractor and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such contracts as follows: Pridgeon Stadium renovations and new natatorium. Questions? Tom?
Roy, there you are. The board book is full and complete on this, but once again, would you briefly explain the bid process, how this ties back into the bond proposal that was approved by the voters?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We utilize the competitive seal proposal delivery method for these type projects. We received proposals as indicated in the backup. Our committee evaluated those proposals and have submitted the recommendation before you to award a contract to Division 1. I am happy to report the project is approximately $104,000 under our projected cost that we had anticipated for the project. And the scope of work, just so you know, includes renovations to the stadium, existing Pridgeon Stadium, which will include a new press box. It also will include a new natatorium on that site, directly by Windfern Road, just south, or I'm going to say south of the field house building. It will include some additional parking by the new natatorium. As you can see, if people have driven by, we've done Phase 1. This is Phase 2. Phase 1, we completed the parking lot replacement with concrete that we're currently using now, and then we'll continue the rest of the renovations with the stadium, which will include renovations to the concession areas, the restrooms on both sides of the facility. Also gives it a facelift, again, as I mentioned, a new 2-story press box.
A follow-up question. You mentioned that we're tracking very closely to that which was budgeted. There's been considerable information in the press about construction projects coming in significantly greater than that which was budgeted, to the detriment of some of the projects. The question I have for you is, have we seen robust construction inflation since there's so many projects going on in the greater Houston area, or has it remained relatively stable?
It's not stable. We're still seeing an increase right now. We're hoping we'll see some stabilization right now, but we have not. Fortunately, we covered that with our bond program and factored in inflation in our construction costs. So we put a 7% inflation factor into the numbers that we have, and that's helping us stay within the projected costs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wait, Christine has a question. Go ahead.
About the renovations on the stadium. Will that include an elevator?
It includes an elevator on the home side.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering. I think that'll be really beneficial. I know my mom, waiting for a hip replacement. It's easier sometimes to go to the games at Berry, but she lives closer to Pridgeon, and so thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
John?
Roy, could you give us the timeline on the Pridgeon completion renovations and then the natatorium?
Yes, what we're looking at doing, as soon as the board approves the contract, we'll actually get all the insurance and bonds approved. Our contractor will mobilize and actually start work on the new natatorium. We will work with the athletic department during the rest of the year to see if there's any little bit of work we can do that will not impact the stadium operations. But once football season is over, we'll then take possession of the stadium and then start the renovation work at that and get it finished for August of 2016 to be ready for the 16-17 football season.
Mark, you had something you
Yeah,
want to add?
just a couple of things, and Roy touched on it. Roy, just to clarify to the board and the public, we're not planning on playing playoff games at
That is
Pridgeon,
correct.
so that gives us a
That is
little
correct.
early start on that facility. And then I would add, and Mr. Jackson touched on it, with all the inflation and a lot of the news articles you've been seeing lately about inflation and people or school districts and other entities not being able to maybe build what they promised. I'd commend Roy and Dylan and his team. They've done such a tremendous job of making sure that the voters in this community are going to receive what we promised. So I just wanted to commend him publicly.
Well said. That'll take us to 4D. The board will consider approving and authorizing the superintendent or designee to enter into the miscellaneous professional service contracts related to the following projects: Pridgeon Stadium renovations and new natatorium, materials testing, HVAC testing, and balancing services, roofing inspection services. Questions? 4E, the board will consider approving construction proposals and contracts to the recommended contractors and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such proposals and contracts as follows: Horn Elementary School masonry repairs, ISC professional library renovations. Questions? 4F, the board will consider approving the administration's recommendation to select architectural firms to provide architectural design services for bond program and other capital improvement projects, and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate and execute all necessary documents and agreements with the selected firms. Roy, is this what you're talking to me about for Monday?
Monday night, whether you,
Okay.
yeah.
Anybody got questions? No? Okay. 4G, the board will consider approving on second reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies, CDA local, other revenues, investments. That's a revision. Questions? It'll take us to 4H. The board will consider approving the tax refunds of $500 or greater for Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. 4I, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 14th, 2015 regular meeting. 4J, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 28th, 2015 special called meeting. And then the board will have a discussion on the following items. Is that tonight, Mark, or that's Monday night?
Monday night, yes, sir.
There'll be 5A, and then we'll have the superintendent's briefing portion of the agenda will also be presented Monday evening. We have no other business tonight. Have a great night. Good night, everyone. Go Astros, go Texans, go everybody. Go home.
Go home.
Go home.